Paislee is a little girl who went missing back in July of 2019, and she has finally been found just last week on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2022. She was found safe and healthy. So we finally have like a happy ending, so to speak. I mean, it's not a happy situation, but she is alive, and that is amazing. So here is the situation. There is a married couple, although there's no proof of their marriage according to the media right now. But anyway, it is a couple, and their names are Kimberly Cooper, who is currently 33, and Kirk Shultis Jr., who is currently 32. Okay, so back in 2019, they lost custody of their two children, one of which was Paislee, and she was 4. By the way, her birthday is May 22nd, 2015. I hope that's correct, but, you know, all my sources are from the internet, and most of them are good sources, you know, but the birthday one was a little questionable, like, I don't know. But the other sources are, like, news sources. I never use, like, you know, really untrustworthy sites to deliver information from. But anyway, as I was saying, so it was in July of 2019 that they found out they were losing custody of their 2 girls. Paislee was 4, and the older daughter, I believe, was 13. Or she's 13 now, one or the other. I'm sorry, I think she might be 13 now. Yeah, I think so. But that piece is not very important, you know, her age. So, now why did they lose custody? And everyone's been wondering about this. And a lot of people out there have been kind of saying, oh, you know, since we don't know specifically, people are saying, I bet they didn't even, you know, deserve to lose custody. It's probably unfair. I mean, you know, just since they don't know why, they want to say they lost custody for no good reason, you know, and that it's some kind of, you know, unfair conspiracy. But I am here to say I do not believe that that is the case. People do not lose their children that easily, okay? You have to do something pretty bad for your children to be taken away, okay? I know there's a case, you know, there's always going to be someone who's going to say, this happened or this happened. Yes, there are exceptions, of course, you know, mistakes and this and that, but I don't think that's the issue here, okay? So they lost custody of the 2 kids. Now, here is what I have found out. The father, Kirk Jr., he was previously arrested for at least 2 things, and charged and convicted and jailed, okay? There was a possession of methamphetamine in North Carolina, for which he pleaded it down to possession of paraphernalia, and he got like 8 days in jail or something. supposed to show up for drug testing, and he wasn't showing up, and they were gonna put him back in prison, but then he went ahead and complied with what they wanted, so that was dismissed. So some of this stuff could be why he would be deemed an unfit parent, okay? As far as Kimberly, I don't have any information specifically on her, but there is another good explanation as to why they lost custody, and that is, it has been reported that these two parents had been bringing their daughters to the father's construction sites because they had nowhere else to, leave them. They didn't have childcare, and I don't know why the mother had to stay at the construction site, or if she was there, or if she was out doing something. I don't know, but these two kids were staying at the construction site up until almost like midnight a lot of nights. So that was another thing that they were doing wrong. Now, this is just me speculating on some things that could have contributed to their loss of custody. The couple also had two other daughters, one born in 2010, one born in 2011, both of whom passed away as infants, sadly. We do not know really anything about, what led to their deaths. So we have no reason to suspect that it has anything to do with the custody of Paislee and her sister. So, just wanted to put it out there though, just as some information. One of the girls was 5 days old when she passed away. The other one, we don't know how old, but she was an infant. Okay. So, they were supposed to hand their two children over to the maternal grandmother. So that would be Kimberly's mother. She was going to take custody. I don't know her relationship to Kimberly. I'm assuming maybe it wasn't good. It probably was bad, but we don't know. So on the day when the custody was supposed to be handed over, the older daughter was in school, and Paislee went missing. Before she could be delivered to the grandmother, Paislee was missing. Where could she be? They searched everywhere they could think of, the authorities, and they couldn't find the parents either, the biological parents. And shortly thereafter, Kirk Jr. some of the times when they visited the house, the grandfather was hostile to them. But that means nothing to me, you know. He could have been annoyed that they kept checking, you know, in my opinion. Anyway, so time passed and they just, you know, they couldn't find her. So remember, she went missing in July 2019. Now, it is like more than 2.5 years later, February 14th, 2022. And they get, well actually, it was the day before, so the 13th, they got a lead. A fresh, reliable lead. We don't know who. This person came forward and said that they had reason to believe that Paislee was hidden in the grandfather's house. Kirk, the two Kirk's house. So, the next day, the police went over there, they got a search warrant, and they searched high and low for 4 hours straight. They really, really, really were trying to find this girl, especially since they really believed this lead. So, finally, they were down in the basement, and one of the officers noticed that the staircase leading down into the basement looked a little strange. Something about it just didn't look right. Like the construction was off. So he started like examining it with his flashlight, and then he started pulling, you know, parts of the wood off, and then he found like a little compartment under the stairs with Paislee and her mother. So Paislee and Kimberly are down there sitting in this just tiny little compartment under the stairs. And there were a bunch of blankets, and everything was wet and cold because it's the basement level, you know, and it's kind of like on a concrete slab, I'm assuming. Plus, it is upstate New York in February, which is a very, very cold time. So, the officer reached in and, you know, lifted Paislee out of this little cubby, let's say. Paislee was so scared, okay, when he took her out of there. Now, she had not made a single peep in 4 hours. And at this time, she was 6, but going on 7, so figure she will be turning 7 in May. So she's almost 7, but she's down there being so quiet. How did she stay quiet? Well, her mother is with her, so maybe she was covering her mouth. I mean, these officers were in the basement, right by the stairs for a while, searching, and they didn't hear anything. But can you imagine what Paislee was led to believe? You know, I'm sure, like, you're gonna hide in here with your mother and be quiet. Do not make a sound, or else what? You know, just start thinking, what must she have been thinking when the police found her? The amount of fear that must have been in her at that moment. But anyway, so they pulled her out. She was in good condition, okay? She looked very healthy. They, you know, took her into the police car to bring her. I don't know if they were bringing her to the hospital or to the station, probably the hospital, to be checked. But now this is the part of the story that feels she still remembered her sister, which is really nice. And in the meanwhile, the 3 adults in the story were arrested. Rightfully so. The mother, Kimberly, she was charged with second-degree custodial interference and endangering the welfare of a child. She was held on $50,000 bail because she had an old warrant. We do not know what that was for, okay? We haven't found out. But she did post the bail like within the next couple of days, and so she's out. The other 2, Kirk Jr. and Kirk Sr., they were charged with first-degree felony custodial interference and misdemeanor endangering welfare of a child. And they were released. All 3 of them have been prohibited from contacting or seeing Paislee. And, they all 3 did have to go to court a couple days later. And it's going to be, continued in the months to come. So there's nothing really official yet with the charges. And they've all gotten lawyers. So what are your thoughts on this case so far? What kind of sentences do you think these parents should get? I will tell you some of my thoughts. So first thing I want to say, these thoughts are in no order of importance, okay? Why did the mother get a different charge than the father and grandfather? I don't get it. She got second-degree custodial interference, and they got first-degree felony custodial interference. That sounds very different. If I had to guess, the only thing that I see differently between them is that the mother was never around to lie, whereas the other 2 men, Kirk and Kirk, both have told the police countless times that they know nothing. They don't know where Paislee is. So, that's the only difference, and I don't see that as, I don't think that Kimberly is any less guilty just because she didn't tell them anything. She was hiding herself, so. And I haven't heard the word kidnapping anywhere. Is custodial interference, is that the same? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know. I mean, I suppose these charges can change as time goes on. So that's just the first thing. Then, of course, you have to say, well, what was the end game here? What were they thinking? What were they trying to accomplish? It can't be that they thought the grandmother is so terrible that she's gonna destroy these kids, If that were the case, then why leave the older girl there? I mean, I understand it was easier to take Paislee because she wasn't in school, but if you felt so strongly enough to kidnap your own child because the grandmother is such a terrible person, then why not take both? So that's my first thing. You only took one kid. So what was your point here? What were you trying to accomplish? And so you hid her away for all this time, which is so unhealthy. And who doesn't know that? I don't care if you are a drug addict or whatever, okay? You know that it's not healthy to keep your child depression, and I don't have any particular reason for it. Well, perhaps the reason is this subconscious trauma from your youth. My 2 cents. So I think it's going to be very damaging. I mean, I hope she gets, a lot of good, treatment. And hopefully that will help her. I think the fact that this made it out into the media in a big way will help ensure that she'll get good care. I hope. And as far as school goes, she could catch up, educationally. I hope, her social skills don't suffer, like, she missed out on a lot of those years when you learn how to share and how to play nicely with friends and all of that, but she may still be young enough to kind of pick that up already. So it would be nice if they could go ahead and put her in 1st grade, but like they can give her extra help, She can spend time with a reading teacher, where they pull her out of the classroom for like a half hour here or there, or sit with her in the back of the room, so just some extra services to help her catch up. So, I mean, I really, really hope that she is okay and she can get over this. Will she look at it like, my parents really loved me so much that, they didn't want to give me up, and that's really positive? Or will she ultimately look at it in the opposite way? Look what they did to me. They messed me up, this and that. Hard to say. And what are the thoughts of the other daughter who was living without her sister for these years and wondering where she was? Think about that. That is so traumatic. Imagine her, one night she goes to bed and she has a sister. The next day, the sister is gone.